Conway's time at MGM Records is drawing to a close. Drawing. Oh, I feel like I'm in an 80s music video. Welcome to another episode of Music Detectives. It's 1963 and time for Conway to honor the greats of rhythm and blues. R&B 63 is Conway's newest album. We have your everyday vinyl, a little jukebox surprise, and a walk through the Music Detectives Hall of Fame, and more. So let's get going.
Now it's time for a Music Detectives detailed inspection.
With all the vinyl related to Portrait of a Fool, which now in hindsight looks more like a final hurrah, by the time R&B 63 gets ready for release, Conway has been absent from the charts for a while now. Considering Portrait of a Fool only stayed at number 98 for 2 weeks, people were starting to wonder what happened to Conway Twitty. In grand MGM fashion, a single would be released that wasn't even related to the current album. We'll talk about that single in a later show. Let's take a look at Conway's last album from MGM. Well, his last album released while he was under contract with MGM. The album will get 4 stars from Billboard. Looking at this cover, we have a nice red background with a very large and bold title and songs on the left. And for the first time, an illustration on the front cover. This artwork is from Ben Wolberg. You can check more out about Ben on his website, benwohlberg.com. Again, we have the catalog number in the lower left, E4089. That will naturally be removed when it's shifted downward for the stereo version. Looking on the back, we see another good chunk, say 25% of the back is blank. If it wasn't for this stamp, CO86, anybody know who or what put this stamp here? Let me know in the comments below. We also have the same graphic layout of the title from the front, just not in color, and now the songs are laid out with order and times. Finally, we have an article talking about his record and its songs from Billboard Music Week. We'll get into more detail on that shortly. Let's take a look at the mono vinyl first. Now, looking close at the label, you can see they put a big dash between R&B and 63. Not sure why they needed that. And looking at the songs, we see that at the bottom, we have some additional notes. Since some of these songs were recorded at different times and naturally different people handling arrangements, we see that information displayed here. Flipping to side 2, we see the same as side 1 with respect to the dash in the title and the arrangement information. As expected, the artwork is shifted down and the new SE4089 catalog number and stereo wording are on the top. Nice. Now on the back, it's the same as the mono because they're using the same template for both. This album has a lot in common with Conway Twitty's Rock and Roll Story album. Instead of the cover rock and roll hits, he covers R&B. Hence, the R&B 63 name. In the US, anyway. In the UK, the album would get a small change and just be called R&B. The back would also be completely rearranged and look nothing like its American cousin. They would also still be using the older MGM labels on the vinyl as well. The good old black on yellow. Let's take a closer look at these songs. Now pay close attention to the song titles. As was common in this era, some titles varied slightly, either missing words, like Boss Man, that should be Big Boss Man. And just above it, What a Dream, which is missing the OH, as its leading word. If What a Dream sounds familiar, it should. It was just on the previous album, Portrait of a Fool. Now do you see the other tune that was on a previous Conway album? I'll give you a few seconds to look. Cue the music. Got it? Let me give you a hint. It's in the same position it was when it was on the other album. Time's up. It's song number 4 on side 2, What Am I Living For?, which first appeared on Conway's Greatest Hits album in 1960. These are some great songs. Let's take a closer look at these by visiting the Music Detectives Hall of Fame.
Welcome to the Music Detectives Hall of Fame.
First up, My Babe. written by Willie Dixon, sung by Little Walter in 1955. Oh, What a Dream, written by Chuck Willis, sung by Slim Harpo. That's who the article on the back cover gives credit to. It was the flip side to his Blues Hangover in 1960, but I'm going to have to overwrite their statement there. This song was sung by Ruth Brown in 1954, and she deserves the credit for putting this one in everyone's ear. Sorry, Slim. Big Boss Man, sung by Jimmy Reed. Fever, written by Eddie Cooley and Otis Blackwell, and sung by Little Willie John. It's Too Late, written and sung by Chuck Willis. Let the Good Times Roll, written and sung by Shirley Goodman and Leonard Lee in 1956. I Got a Woman, co-written and sung by Ray Charles. Looking Back, written by Brooke Benton, Belford Hendricks, and Clyde Otis, sung by Nat King Cole in 1958. Don't Cry No More, sung by Bobby Blue Bland. What Am I Living For, sung by Chuck Willis, mentioning his name for a third time. 3 times a charm, eh?
Oh, yeah!
I Almost Lost My Mind, written and sung by Ivory Joe Hunter. And finally, we have Pledging My Love, written by Ferdinand Washington and Don Roby, sung by Johnny Ace. Getting to the stereo vinyl, we see the name stereo wording, and for the last time, we see the 45/45 stereo disc on the label. Not only would Conway leave MGM after the release of this album, but this leaves the labels too. Other than that, both sides of this record are pretty much the same as the mono. There might not be any 45s released with this album, but R&B 63 got some jukebox love. In August of 1963, the album got its own little LP. The small 33 looked exactly like its full 33 stereo cousin, even having the stereo catalog number on it. But that wasn't the actual catalog number for this release. You can see the 7-inch size compared to the 12-inch album. Despite having the full list of songs on the cover, this release would only have 6. If you flip the cover over, there's nothing to be found. But what's inside is something else. First, we have the Seberg jukebox labels. Look closely. These aren't the paper ones that you're used to seeing. These are plastic. Paper doesn't act like this when you flick it. These will probably last forever. But wait, there's more. Not 1, not 2, but 3 miniature album covers. Certain Seberg jukeboxes had special holders for these little covers, so they gave you 3. These are paper, and they're not in color, but we will see some in color in later episodes, so you out there watching, subscribe already! It goes without saying, but the vinyl is the easiest part of the bunch to find. The cover's next, then the jukebox strips, and finally the little album inserts. So if you see them, don't hesitate to grab them, because they are rare. The jukebox labels give you a clue that there are only 6 songs, but the only place to find the actual catalog number for this little guy is on the vinyl label, SLM-4089. The 3 songs on side 1 are I Got a Woman, Don't Cry No More, and It's Too Late. Flipping over, the songs on side 2 are My Babe, Boss Man, and What a Dream. Remember, the full album has 12 songs, so you have half with this little one. Another first on the show, we have a real thing to show you, our EEL, or stereo tape. Here it is. Isn't it awesome? About the same size as the little LP, except thicker. We can see on the spine that it's a 4-track with 7.5 inch per second, or IPS, play speed in stereo. The catalog number is STC4089. The back is almost like the 33. Now, Conway Twitty's name is now what was the dead space on the vinyl cover, and it's manufactured by Ampex. See the E32Y stamp mark? Does anybody know what this is? Let me know in the comments below. Let's open this up, shall we? Wow, purple label, cool. First thing that jumps out to me is the stereo tape wording. It's in the same font as the stereo disc. Way back in 1959 on Conway's first two albums, Sings and Saturday Night. We have a clear plastic one here. Now, depending on when they were made, the one you find might not be clear. All the songs are in the same order as the vinyl, and notice that unlike the vinyl labels, every song has who arranged it printed below the title. The back has nothing, so we can see the full circle of wound tape. We'll be getting into the technical information about reels in a separate video, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. One other thing to check out, we have a card here. If you would like our complete catalog, over 900 4-track tapes from 20 different record companies, just return this self-addressed postage-paid card. Very cool. If you have that complete catalog, let me know in the comments below. Now, along with your name and address, they have a couple of questions and a survey. Remarks? Sure. Wish I could send in this little card and get the catalog today. Oh well, I can dream. There's one more thing to mention before we wrap things up. Also released in 1963 was Bye Bye Birdie, a movie and its soundtrack. Now, if you're a Conway fan and don't know why I'm showing this to you, well, that's why I'm here. Conway isn't on the soundtrack or even in the movie, but the movie's main character, Conrad Birdie, was inspired by and parodied both Conway and Elvis. See, the movie came out in 1963, but it's based on a stage musical of the same name, which is set in 1958, which just so happens to be the year Conway hit it big with It's Only Make Believe. Looking at the back, we can see that it has some notable actors, like Dick Van Dyke and Anne Margaret. The character also goes on to sing a song called One Last Kiss, and give one last kiss to one last miss. One last kiss. One last kiss. The next kiss is the last goodbye. So just thought I would share this with you before I say goodbye. And thanks for watching. And please subscribe. It truly is the right thing to do. And don't forget to stop by Watson's, where you can get 33 to 50% off MGM and other LP records. Well, that does it for another episode. The best way to let us know you're enjoying the show is to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss our next episode. Also, hit that like button too while you're at it.